Hello. So this year I took a wedding cake with us to Italy. We faced lots of challenges. I also took sugar flowers that I had to wrap very, very tightly and softly and bubble wrap. We travelled from Birmingham airport to Pisa, and we stayed in Pisa for a little bit, and then we travelled up the hills, the windy roads up to Tuscany to the venue. The cake was kept frozen the whole time, and when I got to the venue, I then had to unwrap the cake and have a little look at what I was left with. I didn't quite know if the sugar flowers would survive, but I wrapped them as best as I can, keeping all the leaves and everything separately. It was just such a beautiful venue. It was very challenging though, as I couldn't take all my usual tools that I would take with me. So I had to work with what I could find in their kitchen, really. Um, Here's me just unwrapping the cake to see what I've got. Basically, this is when we'd arrived at the new venue, and I thought, right, let's have a little look. There was a bit of damage from where it had been squashed in the freezer a bit, but it was okay. It was nothing that wasn't fixable. We had to go to the shop and get more cream and white chocolate so I could just put a bit more ganache on and take a bit of the older stuff off and fix it, but it was fine. Here you can see me working with a dinner knife because I didn't have all my tools, and I had to use kitchen towels instead of a turntable. But yeah, I just followed the same process that I do with all my cakes. I made sure the dowels were really good and level because it was going to be standing up outside all day in the heat in Italy, in Tuscany. I think it was about 27 degrees. The humidity obviously is higher. But yeah, it was a challenge, but at the same time, my foundations, I believe, were good enough that it wasn't as much of a challenge as I expected. So yeah, that's me prepping. And then I got the cake all ready in our apartment and walked it down to where I was going to put it. They do cakes very differently in Italy, so I think they were a bit confused when I was talking to them. So I need a table to put the cake on because they do things very differently. But yeah, so carrying it down the stairs was a bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, it worked really well. I didn't have a stand because we didn't have space for a stand, but I found this bowl in our apartment that when I turned it upside down, it just looked beautiful. So yeah, you can see the sugar flowers, they survived beautifully. And yeah, they absolutely loved the cake. Every single scrap of it was eaten, and it stood all day. I literally could not be happier. Absolutely over the moon. So yeah, one of my biggest challenges this year was taking a cake and setting it up internationally, and it was a success.